Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hey, fine folks, this is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Saturday Night Dialogues. It is November the 2nd, 2024. I must say, and we will say thank you to the beautiful Brunette Grand for that amazing song that she dedicated to Lady E earlier in the week. It is so touching. Lady E doesn't like her name in the spotlight, but I asked her to please share that song tonight, and it really touched us in a very special way. It's a true testament of the love that we have in the room from our members, and like I said, Lady E doesn't like to be acknowledged too much, but if it really wasn't for her, the room wouldn't be as strong as it is. And she's one of my angels, her and Anastasia, that protects me and protects all of you. All right, beautiful folks, we're gonna get rocking and rolling. Tonight, we're gonna start out with a prayer, and we're gonna jump right into it because we have some very important information related to the RV that you all will be very happy to hear. And there's some amazing stories you're going to hear tonight from actual members that you all will be excited about as well. Let's jump into it. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to be here, to share our time, to share our love. We ask that you allow everyone that is here to remain safe, their families, their loved ones. We ask that you give them peace. We ask that you give them tranquility in their lives. We ask that you meet all of their needs, whatever they may be. We ask that you, Father God, allow us all to continuously have open minds and open hearts to receive the information that you are sharing with us through Goldilocks. And also, Father God, we want to say thank you for allowing us all to be a part of this amazing blessing. We know it's been a long journey and oftentimes painful one for many people who are involved, but we ask that you continue to grant mercy, and we ask that you continue to grant peace and patience so that every last person who is involved in this opportunity are able to make it to the finish line and change their lives for their loved ones and humanity. In your precious name, we pray. Amen. All right, folks. Tonight, it's going to be very powerful. You are going to hear some things from members, some information that you all will be very proud of regarding the RV. Then we're going to get into some articles that's going to touch on latest developments from Iraq, directly from the CBI. And also, before we get started, I just want to acknowledge and also give my gratitude and thanks to Goldilocks for being the consummate professional in bringing forth the information for the RV that is second to none, and true intel with facts that anyone can read directly from the actual sources for themselves. For those of you who may not be aware, Goldilocks has been sharing the factual information on the RV for several years. A lot of the information has been shown in advance. In fact, tonight, you're going to witness for yourself some of the information that came out recently connects to the RV with a specific bank that is directly connected to Iraq. Goldilocks has actually been sharing about something very particular we're going to touch on tonight since 2021. There's no coincidence why, and there are several members here who have seen it for themselves, how Goldilocks is able to share information months in advance, and things come to pass. That is a true testament of Goldilocks' relationships with the global financial and technical agencies that are involved directly with the RV. And yes, Goldilocks' direct relationship, along with direct relationship with the CBI, and that, of course, is specific to Iraq. But as it pertains to the global RV, the relationships that Goldilocks has as well is a true testament to how we're able to see the process. And for those of you who may be new, we have members that are in the room, the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, and they have shared plenty of times how they have a peace of mind now understanding the process. All right. So speaking of Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, it is open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Saturday. That is where we share the Goldilocks articles and break them down. And then also next Thursday, the higher learning call with Anastasia and myself will resume on November the 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anastasia is finished with the healing process of the gentleman who had stage 4 cancer, and she believes he's in remission. She's been off focusing on him and his healing for about a month now. Man, time just flew by. And also, Dee's room is where she shares a lot of articles related to the RV. And then the crypto finance news with Dave Big Dog. Anything related to cryptocurrencies, that's the room. If you have questions, please feel free to go there. And he is an expert for sure. And then we have Goldilocks Global Banking News, your daily podcast where we bring to you every single day. Folks, I want to remind you we want to make sure we are getting the word out far and wide, and it's happening, but we would like to make sure we reach many more countries around the world. And so please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we also want to say a big thank you and give you all a shout out who are liking, watching, and sharing and subscribing to the channel, where we are witnessing more and more people from around the world subscribing to the channel. And that's a testament to the information and the facts that Goldilocks is bringing, along with Wiley and myself in the rooms, and a true testament to you all who are paying attention, watching the videos, and sharing it. Now, we're going to get on into this business tonight. You're going to hear from two members. One is going to be Stream Bean, which I call her Garlic Stream Bean. And she's a member that for a while was just lurking and waiting in the wings paying attention and watching as different members. We were helping to educate, to establish relationships at the banks with wealth managers. And she heard the many stories. And last week she met with her wealth manager, and you're going to hear from her directly about her experience. And just so that you all know, I want to say this while it comes to mind, when it comes to establishing a relationship with a bank. And this is something that Wiley and myself have been really honing in on heavily in the room. You cannot fail. No matter what, we know that some people may be uncomfortable. You may be a little nervous in establishing a relationship. We encourage you to do two things. One, to listen to the podcast where members have already done it and they've shared their experience. You will get a lot of nuggets from those episodes. That's number one. Number two, feel free to come into the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room and interact with those members directly. Ask them questions. Find out what they did, how they did it. These are real live people that are more than willing to help you. You don't have to take it from myself. You don't have to take it from Wiley. You don't have to take it from Goldilocks or anyone else. Whoever you're comfortable with, feel free to come into the room. Even earlier today, Lady Unique was helping someone. Brunette Grant is always helping. Zach, Jan. I shouldn't have started naming names because I'm going to forget someone and someone might get upset. Please forgive me. But we have members that have also, just so that you're aware, even though you hear them on the podcast sharing their wonderful stories from the bank, where the vice president of the bank is talking to them, telling them the RV is actually happening, all these different stories, that doesn't mean that it happened like that for them the first time. Several of our members, it took them 2-3 times, second, third, fourth visit to finally have the banks to open up to them and let them know, yeah, this is real and it's happening. But I encourage you all, if you're concerned when it comes to establishing a relationship with the wealth managers and the banks that will exchange your currency, don't hesitate. The faster you get out there and screw it up, the better it is, because it's what I call fail fast. Even though you can't fail fast. It's not, instead of ready, set, go, ready, go. Why? Because the sooner you jump out there, the sooner we can correct it and get you back out there and establishing that relationship so that you can have in place the people that are prepared to not only exchange your currency, but also the banks, the relationships at the banks with the folks that will help you to manage and grow your wealth. And there is an unbelievable feeling when you are able to go and establish that relationship. There is a calm and a peace that you will have to know that you have touched the flesh hand to hand with the person that you have met with at the bank that is more than willing and able to exchange your currency. Now, let's not belabor the moment. Let's get on into it. Let's get to someone who's actually done it. This is String Bean. If you can raise your hand, are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Please feel free to raise your hand. There you go. All right. String Bean and then Lady Unique, we're coming to you. And then we're going to jump into these amazing articles out of Iraq. String Bean, garlic, String Bean. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I had to figure out how to unmute this.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know early this week you spent some time with Wiley on a
Yes.
call, and you did an amazing job. I want to also give a shout out to Wiley. He has been just a true gem in the room, dropping so much knowledge and wisdom on not only establishing the relationships, but folks protecting your wealth after you exchange. Got to come into the room. So, String Bean, if you could be so kind, can you share with these beautiful people listening to this call your story, what you did, first, where you started as far as lurking in the background?
Okay.
If you can give us an A to Z to your best ability and
Okay.
help these folks tonight to know what you did, maybe they can duplicate it.
Okay. Um, I guess I started 4 years ago when I first heard about currency through a friend, and I started following the gurus. And
Mm-hmm.
through the process of that, just some things just didn't sit well with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I started following. I came across you, Freedom Fighter, on Souls, but let me backtrack.
Mm-hmm.
In April, before that, in April, I actually went to a bank, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I was one that did the guru talk and
Mm-hmm.
talked about having currency.
Mm-hmm.
And after I discovered you and I discovered Wally, and this summer I was just basically listening to you guys. I started
Mm-hmm.
listening to the information that you guys were sharing online. I also began to realize I couldn't just sit back any longer
Mm-hmm.
and take in all this information and not do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things you said probably about 5 minutes ago, fail fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I went to the initial bank with the guru talk and I posted online in the chat room to you guys roasted me, I have to admit, but you guys did it. You did it in love. And
Right.
I didn't get offended by it because I knew your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I knew your heart behind it, and you guys really just encouraged me. After you
Mm-hmm.
laughed at me, you did encourage me. So I will say that
That
for
was that was just
hardware
that was just an our that's the initiation. We were just initiating you into the tribe.
initiating
That's
me, but I appreciate that. And
mm-hmm.
so I knew, I said, okay, I need to sit down and I need to study this. I need to get the information that I need in order to go forth. But I will say, don't take too much time doing that because you will talk yourself out of moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. Fear will paralyze you and make you think that you have to have it so perfect. You
And
have
you
to be
don't.
so perfect in it. And I finally realized also I was doing an injustice to you and to Wally and to everyone else that's a part of this team
Mm-hmm.
because I'm soaking up all this information, but I wasn't doing anything with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to get me out of the way
Mm-hmm.
and say, you know what, you're going to step out and do this. So I decided to go, instead of changing banks, I just went to a different location
Mm-hmm.
because I was already in a credit union. I didn't want to join a different bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already joined the bank that I'm talking about right now. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, go to a different location. I went in one day to do a deposit and I asked to speak to the wealth manager. The wealth
Mm-hmm.
manager was not available at the time, was going to not be available for a couple hours. So I asked for a card, got the
Mm-hmm.
email, and I took the questions that Wally had given us, those questions to ask, and
Mm-hmm.
I sent that in an email to the banker. And he's a wealth manager, investment advisor, and he's over the people who also does the private clients and
Mm-hmm.
handles the accounts. So I sent the questions, typed that up, and I changed the questions in a way where it was coming from me, like
Mm-hmm.
first person. And
Right.
so I did that. And the next day I got a call back and he said to me, I received your questions and I would love to talk to you in person. And
Mm-hmm.
so I set up an appointment, went in to meet with him, and I was nervous, but I was determined that I was going to follow through. So I'm going to remember that fail fast, because I get emotional about this because I was determined that I was going to move forward, because I owed you guys that much, that you take your time to sow into us and to sit back on it and do nothing with it. I knew I had to get out there. So I made my appointment for the following week, went in, and he pulled
Tier
up
one
my
bank, right? Tier one
I'm
bank.
Tier 1 bank. And he pulled up my information, my email that I originally sent him with the questions. And of course, I had took my own copy in that I printed off. And I was there a little bit over an hour, and he took the time to answer every one of those questions, and took the time for me to write down what he said. Just the type of personality that he had made me feel calm. It actually calmed me down, because when I first went in there, I was nervous. But after a while, it was like, it's okay.
Right.
You can't really mess this up. It's okay. And so got all my questions answered. And I thought he did a phenomenal job. And this is someone that I will use.
Use for
when it's time, when my wealth comes in. It's time for me to go in.
In exchange.
Without saying the guru. I didn't say any of that.
Right. So what you're saying is you didn't mention you didn't have to mention dinar. You didn't have to mention RV.
No.
Exactly.
I followed exactly the way you guys taught us to.
See, folks, because this is why we preface to establish the relationship with the wealth manager, with the bank. Now, it's not going to be cookie cutter, folks. There are we have members that have shared where the bank themselves have come out to the members and brought up the currency, brought up the RV. So it really, folks, will depend on who you come in contact with. It may not be the first time. You're going to hear from someone next who it wasn't her first time. However, with Garlic String Bean, with the relationship that she was able to establish, and a lot of it has to do with I can tell is the calmness in her voice and how she approaches this, even though she was nervous. But she just took that step. She, although nervous, although hesitant, she took that step, and she screwed it up at first.
Yes.
And that and actually that is the best thing you could have done, was to go and screw it up. That's the absolute best thing. Because it's like anything in life, folks. When you do something, as long as you have the intent, what are your intentions? Her intentions were to go out there and accomplish something. It's not about right, wrong, indifferent, good, bad, ugly. It's not even about that. Taking that step, that faith, God will absolutely guide you and guide the people to you that you need in order to exchange your currency when the time comes, and also help you to grow it and maintain it. But you have to take that step. Now, I'm going to say this. That is, when I say have to take that step, I'm not saying that if you don't, that you won't be able to exchange. No, I'm not saying that in no way, shape, or form. It's a choice if you choose to do this. But you can bet your dinar, your bottom dollar, if you do, you will have such a peace. For example, String Bean. Yes. Now that you have done this, and you obviously are very comfortable at this tier one bank with this particular wealth manager who will exchange your currency and you will use to help build your wealth. How does it feel now that you have gone out there and done this? How does it make you feel?
Peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
The peace of mind that when this happens, I don't have to figure out where I'm going. Um, I had even asked about, I said, he had asked me if I knew what my inheritance was and how much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had asked about tax person and that type of thing, CPAs, and
Yeah.
he said that he has people that he used that he will be able to set me up with.
Right.
So just even sharing that with me is letting me know I will be able to put together a team with his help.
There you
And
go.
so just the peace of mind of knowing that when this happened, I'm not running around trying to figure it out. I've already have something in place.
Excellent. 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 Is there anything you would like to share with the people listening, advice, anything, whatever's on your heart that you would like to share?
Yes, trust yourself.
Hmm.
God, just trust your instincts and yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and trust that you have more in you than you realize, because the information that we have been given in the chats is invaluable. You can't put a price on it. And just trust that when you go in there and you have the tools that you need, you're going to do okay. And not only that, with Wiley, he has even given us information for down the road.
Mm-hmm.
After you do all of this, what do you need to do a year from now? The information's there,
Mm-hmm.
and take advantage of it, because he's taken the time to put this out there for us.
Right.
So just go do it. And we're looking forward to hearing your call.
And String Bean, if anyone comes to the room with that needs help, assistance, guidance, advice, I know the answer to this question I'm asking anyway. Are you willing to help them in the room to help them get it figured out?
Yes, sir. I wasn't going to do anything until I had that clearance from you guys.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
But
Excellent.
yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, beloved. We appreciate you. And you'll be back a little bit because, folks, she's going to help me read some articles from Iraq, and we're going to give you some very, very, very exciting news that Goldilocks is shared directly from Iraq. So we'll come back to you, String Being, after we
Okay.
get to Lady Unique. Thank you, beloved.
Okay.
All right, Lady Unique, if you can unmute, superstar.
Good evening.
Good evening, young lady. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Thank you so much. You have a very unique situation. So you you already had a previous banking relationship. You found us, then you went back with more information that you learned from us, further strengthened your relationship at your tier one bank. And you shared, for those of you who've heard Lady Unique, this is the young lady who I believe was on her second meeting with her relationship manager at a tier one bank. This is the young lady where the vice president of the branch met her at the door as she was walking out and told her, what did he tell you?
As I was leaving, I was walking out the door, and he went to open the door, and he just kind of whispered as I was going out the door, we got you on our contact list
For the
It's
exchange.
for the exchange.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that's what he was saying. 'Cause all he said was, we got you on our contact list," and I just looked at, and he winked. I'm
Right.
like, okay.
Was this your second? Was that your second meeting or your first?
Ooh, no, that was part of a meeting from another situation that I had,
Okay.
and he just happened to
Gotcha.
see me there that day and brought it up because I had been there prior to that. But that
Gotcha.
day when he made that statement, wasn't related to where we're at right now. It just kind
Gotcha.
of lined up.
Beautiful. Now, you went back last Tuesday on or was on the 22nd, you went
Yeah.
back
Yes.
and you met with, was it the wealth manager?
It was the senior banker. The initial meeting that I was supposed to have was supposed to be with her and Wealthman, but they were that week. If you remember, they had sudden meetings, so they had to reschedule.
Okay.
So this meeting was very interesting, and
Hmm.
as I get into it, I met with my senior banker, and it was to further build that relationship because she knew that I had requested that meeting with the wealth manager
Hmm.
and for the uh, the upcoming event. Although those words were never really spoken in that way, they knew that I held foreign currency, and from prior conversations, as we've said before we got to this point, they kind of played it off. But now the conversations have been more acceptable. Like, yeah, we know what's going on because, yeah. So
Right. Because at first they were a little hesitant
yes.
in talking to you about the RV. As they got comfortable with you over time,
Mhm.
they began to be a little more open. And I believe there was one of the ladies, I forget what her title is, had approached you stating that she knows you have foreign currency, correct?
Right, right. Now that was my originally, guys, I had a relationship manager, but then she moved to another position and I was introduced to a senior banker. The young lady that was my relationship manager said, I'm going to introduce you to the senior banker and let her, but she had already had my, because guys, I have had this relationship going back with my bank over a few years. Just regular banking and then the introduction of how all this started. And I want to back up a little bit. I was
Go ahead.
baptized in Guru Fusiism. And
Okay. This is so funny.
yeah, so as I went through that little battle and as Stringman had said before, when I found these guys, that was it. That was it for me. When I was in the background too for a while, listening and learning and comparing my notes. I had tons of notes, things that I thought made sense, but these guys really helped me get where I'm at today, based on the information that was shared from Goldilocks and Wiley and the way Freedom Fighter helps break it down. Oh God, that was it for me. So, getting back to my incident on the 22nd, when I went in to meet with my senior banker, we did have a conversation about my goals, what I'm
Hmm.
looking to do, and why I would like to have a conversation with wealth manager. And I had a few questions, and she took all that down with me. And um, something told me before I left my home to go meet with her. I said, let me take my currency with me, see what happens. You know, I didn't let them know that I had it with me because I didn't know how this conversation was going to go and if I was actually going to be able to have another meeting, or was the wealth manager going to come in and meet with us while we're there.
Hmm.
Well, she took notes and whatever, and we had our conversation. And then she said, by any chance, do you have your currency with you? And I'm like, oh God, yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I do. And so I took my currency I have them in individually, and one from each envelope and a
Hmm.
bond. And she took them to uh, to validate them. And when she
Hmm.
came back into the room, that was another area of the bank where she went to, and she said, three of my currencies were showing pending.
Hmm.
One was blank,
Mm-hmm.
And the bond I had, she said very politely, put that aside for now. So
Mm-hmm.
when I said, so what's this on? She said, yeah, she was validating that my currency was authentic, that it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't because I had heard, and I'm sure others have heard too, people bought currencies and stuff and they were not real currencies.
Mm-hmm.
So mine was validated and authenticated, and I was blown away. So I was sitting there trying to be very calm, and I thanked her for what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And a few days later, I shared with Freedom Fighter, and then later with our group, I got an email with a survey link attached from my bank. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've had various meetings at my bank for various type of things. Um, One of the biggest things that I had was I had to take over my husband's bank account. He was in a nursing home, so I had to go through all the legalizations, all that, and
Mm-hmm.
so they got to know me that way. And I'm losing thought, so much has been going on. So
It's okay.
yeah, so after I went off there, so I'm trying to remain calm. And so I never got any surveys or follow-ups from the bank about any, and it was some important stuff that I was doing, but never. So when I got this email
Mm-hmm.
with this link in there for a survey, and the title in it was survey, and it had my senior banker's name in there, and I'm like, oh wow, what's this? Okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
clicked on it and answered all the questions, and the questions in the survey were questions asking me related to the conversations that I had had with my senior banker, and how
Mm-hmm.
pleased was I with her performance. Did I have any additional questions? And it gave me room to add any additional
Comments.
concerns or comments,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I did. I
Mm-hmm.
just elaborated. She did well for me.
Mm-hmm.
um, I felt confident in conversations because my big brothers that had helped me out. So big brothers being Wiley, Freedom Fighter, and Goldilocks. So I returned that and sent it back, and they responded back, of course, with the thank you. We value as a client, and that type of thing. So I thought that to be very encouraging and very enlightening. And when I
Mm-hmm.
when I shared that with Freedom Fighter, um, I forget his exact words, but he wrote back, "Boom." um, yeah, it's like that's their way of saying, like, okay, we got our eye on her. I know she's going to be a client we want to keep and do business with. I'm gonna back up just a little bit, because I
Mm-hmm.
did, when I was talking to my senior banker, I told her, well, at first, when all this I was thinking about, I told her I was being directed to go to other banks, and
Mm-hmm.
she
Mm-hmm.
was on her, and she looked up at me, and she just kind of smiled, her eyes kind of bucked just a little bit, and she said, well, that's totally your choice, but she said it just like this, but you're our client.
They don't want you to go nowhere. You
No,
got
so
all this money, millions coming in. They don't want you to go to no other bank
yeah,
and
yeah.
see. And they know, for those that are listening, folks listening, I believe you have, didn't you already have some currency deposited or no?
That was that, yeah, and I want to clear that up. I did years ago, and it
Mm-hmm.
had no, I mean, it didn't do anything.
Of course not,
And
but you had it deposited. You had foreign currency
right,
already deposited in your account years ago.
yeah, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one time, I'm sorry, gooferism, they they were saying, go in and test your bank, and
Mm-hmm.
deposit your currencies into an account. Well, at the
Mm-hmm.
time that I tried to do that, the currency that I had was not showing on their screens,
But
and
it
I
is
could
now.
not. Yes, but it shows pending.
It shows pending. That's right. Now, also something that if I recall, I'm not sure if it was the senior banker or whoever it was a little hesitant, but showed you something.
Yeah, just kind of. It was like it was the senior banker,
Okay.
and when she did it, and I was, um, it was like, should I do this or not? But because I'm thinking, because we have a trust, and and we,
And you have a
and
relationship.
yeah, relationship. She kind of tilted her screen where I could see it was her screen showing some information on her, where I could just, I took a peek and she showed it to me real quick. She didn't hold it there long. She just,
Mm-hmm.
see, that's it right there. And then she turned it back over.
Uh,
So I
and
did,
now, huh?
and I was able to get an eyeball on what I did see, and it was
Right.
true. The currencies that I had were showing pending, and one of them was blank, but it was
Mm-hmm.
on the screen, but it was blank.
Yes, yes, yes. And we can't say, folks, openly on the call what those currencies are, which was pending and which was blank. But I'm sure 90+% of you have those currencies, both the ones that were showing pending and the ones that were and the one that was showing blank. And the one that was showing blank, that is because that particular currency is not international just yet. Does that make sense, right, Lady Unique?
Yeah.
And so, just folks that are listening, we're going to make sure you heard this correctly from Lady Unique, who has this unique story, that this tier 1 bank authenticated her currency. They asked her if she had her currency with her. Mind you, again, this is a relationship that she established. It wasn't overnight. It was
No.
several times. He said no. It was several times that she had went back, but the bank finally was comfortable enough with her. And I'm so glad you listened to your inner voice, that intuition guiding you to take your currency with you. Now, folks, that does not mean that's what you need to do, because if you don't have that relationship, it might be a different ball game for you. If you go into the bank, taking your currency and asking them to authenticate it, I guarantee you, if you do not have a relationship and you attempt to do that, they might just show you the door, and it's going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, and I want to back up, guys. I'm please, please, please. What he's saying is so true, because I can't. You can't go and educate yourself. Read what Goldilocks and listen to Freedom Fighter and what Wiley tell you. Like I said, I've been in this. Like I've shared before, I've been in this since 2013. All right, and I just graduated this year. Okay. When I met these guys, but I learned how over time, because I would listen to other people, just like I've learned here, how they would go
Mhm.
in and talk. And they're, if you go in there to you just educate yourself and learn the language. Because like I said, it ain't like I'm, the fantabulous whatever. It took this old girl a time, to get it together. But you have to be able to speak without saying. That's the way I say it.
Mm,
Um,
mhm,
don't go in there
mhm,
telling me, well, this is GCR and the Sarge, no, no. Go in
mhm,
there, like I think it was String Bean said, you're coming to an inheritance, or you know, get a calm where you can have that conversation, and that is key to build the relationship.
mhm,
I thank God for it.
mhm,
The relationship I have with my bank had really gotten intense over the past 5 years. But
mhm,
however, that was because I was doing family business and other stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when I got to the level where I could talk about what I'm hoping to do and planning to do with, with this blessing that's coming, I had to take the time and don't laugh. No, you can laugh if you want to. I would stand in the mirror and
T,
watch
go ahead.
myself.
Good. I love
I would,
that.
yeah, and stand in the mirror and whatever.
Wow.
And some people were saying, "I got to go to the bank, got to be suit and tie." I went in casual but nicely dressed.
Mm-hmm.
Not, nothing fancy. And my bank they know who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
um, because of the relationship, and that is so key. You don't have to have. Everybody's got their own aura.
Mm-hmm.
Take your best with you, and
Mm-hmm.
take it humbly with confidence, because you got some in your pocket.
That's right. And
So
folks,
please,
what she's saying is so powerful, and then it reminds me to tell you all this. This blessing, it truly is. It is your inheritance. Before you were born, this was meant for you. I don't care who it is, anyone and everyone at the sound of my voice. You were born for this. This is you have a spiritual contract that you don't even realize that you signed up for this before you came into this world. This is not something that someone is giving you. This is, and it doesn't matter where you heard about the RV from, what room, what intel provider, it doesn't matter. God has used every single person, whoever it is, that has introduced this to you. God has utilized them for a purpose. I don't care things that may have said been wrong, dates, rates wrong. It doesn't matter. This is your blessing. It is your inheritance. You don't have to use that language inheritance if you don't want to. You doesn't have to with the banks. No, that's just a little tidbit. I encourage you to come into the room, the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, engage with us, various members who will help you. Listen to the podcast with members who have done it, such as Stream Bean and Lady Unique. This is, it's such a powerful opportunity, an amazing opportunity for you to change your life, your family, and the people that you want to touch. Like Wiley mentioned in the room the other day, this chance will not come back again. This is once in a lifetime, chance of a lifetime. And we encourage you to use us, the members, Wiley, myself in the room, use us to help yourself, to go out there and establish these relationships. I'm sorry I cut you off, Lady Unique, but I wanted to share that. You said something that really triggered me to share that.
no, that's quite all right. That ain't that how a team work together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want, and this is something that Goldilocks and I have talked about, and Wally as well. We want you all to really take advantage of being able to establish the relationships. It'll make a huge difference. Lady Unique, can you share, how do you feel if you didn't establish this relationship? Do you think that the bank would have ever, the lady would have ever asked you for your currency to authenticate it?
No. That's what a point I do want to make when you're talking about that relationship makes a ton of difference. And like I said, it's how you approach and how you
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody knows how to walk, all right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that establishing that relationship, because I'm gonna be honest, again, not patting myself on the back, I'm just saying, I think my uh, senior manager flipped and let me see that screen because of our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that's why, because
Mm-hmm.
the way
Of course.
the way she kind of looked and looked, and then she just kind of
She
tilted
was
it a little
hesitant
bit.
at first. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Because
and I
she's
and
not
I
supposed to show you. She's really not supposed to
right.
show you.
Right. And like I said, it was her screen. It wasn't like a normal, it was, I saw her name on there. So you know,
Hmm.
so it was something unique for her to, see and to share, I guess. But
Hmm.
however, for her to do that, I really appreciated it. And it kind
Hmm.
of threw me. I'm like, oh my, she actually showed, but it was her screen, guys, that I wanted to keep. I want to make sure you understand it was her screen. I'm not saying I've never seen the actual what they tell you to go see the back screen or some old crap like that from there.
Right.
No,
Right.
no, it was just like a summer because she typed in some stuff and then I guess whatever she had to do. And then, like I said, she did tell it my way where I could
Hmm.
see it, but she didn't hold it there long, guys. I mean, just kind of that, to show me. So
Hmm.
I really appreciated that of her doing that because
Hmm.
again, that was also a validation of her validating what she had just done for me. So
Right. And it's beautiful because, again, she took your currency, validated it, brought it back to you, um, and told you, not only told you, but showed you which ones are pending, which ones is blank,
right.
and which to put to the side. Um, how, after she did that, how did that make you feel after she authenticated your currency?
Oh my gosh. It gave me more peace. It gave me more confidence. And as I walked out the door, all I could do was say, "Thank you, Lord." But
Yes.
it did. It really did because I got just a little, privately, a little emotional when I got in my car, and all I could do was just say, thank you, Lord. Okay, this is gonna
Mm.
happen. This is gonna happen. But also, and then I had to check myself. Okay, don't get cocky now. You know, let's stay
Stay
caring, of
grounded.
course, right,
Hmm.
and stay rooted and
Stay in
continue.
love. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that just helped me come back home over the past few days and tweak some other things that
Hmm.
I had started working on because I got a better understanding the language and the way Wiley gives that little extra tip. Oh my God.
Right. Right.
So, but
Now,
yeah.
I want to, before we're going to get into the articles next, but um, also you listened to the podcast from this morning, and did it coincide? Did it align with something else you shared with? I'm not sure if I should even mention this that you shared with me in DM, um, about
Yeah.
a particular currency that is for the first time showing to be able to transfer and move anywhere in the world.
Yeah. When I had to go back and listen twice.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Excuse
Uh-huh.
me.
Don't get choked up now.
Oh, yeah, it did. And um
I'm gonna say this without saying it. So, folks, she shared with me in DM directly from it's some the bank, her personal information at the bank, but showing certain currencies uh, that she can move, convert, transfer, that it wasn't there, it wasn't showing before in your back office of your bank. Am I correct?
yeah, yeah, yes. They'll let me know when.
Okay. All right. And this is a tier one bank, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, there's another member PR that had a similar experience, and we'll talk about that another time. So we're going to get into the articles. Thank you. I cannot thank you and Garlic String Bean enough. I'm so proud of all of our members, and so also especially proud of the two of you who've just been in the background watching, learning, screwed up a little bit, came back. We helped you to straighten it out. And now I believe you are the first one to share out of all of the experiences with wealth managers that they took your currency, asked you for your currency to authenticate it, and it is a true gem for everyone to hear that. And we appreciate you sharing your story, beloved. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you, encouraging everybody, and thank you. Thank you guys enough for
Yes.
helping us. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, beloved. All right, String Bean, let's go. We're going to get into these articles that actually on Iraq that actually touch on what, and actually it's amazing how it connects with the digital part of Lady Unique's situation at the bank where her currency was authenticated. And also it coincides with all of you guys all of you members who have had your experiences with wealth managers. We're going to jump right into it. Folks, if you don't know, I'm going to share this with you. And I want everyone to listen. We're not going to be long. So stay with us as we get into this. As for those of you who were on the call last Saturday, you saw how we went back in time and came to the future and saw what Iraq has been doing to be prepared to go international. And on October the 15th, with the call that Goldilocks and Dee invited me on to with the CBI, a lot of that information last week came out, and we're going to share some of that with you as well tonight. That is in alignment with the conversation we had with the CBI. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to share some stuff into the room, and this is going to be quick, folks. And folks, when we get to the Q&A, please make sure your questions are related to the topics tonight or the articles. We greatly appreciate it. All right. You ready, String Bean?
Yes.
All right. Garlic String Beans. All right. This first one, folks. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, there have been two major tier 1 banks that have been in majority of all the meetings with Iraq and the United States Department of Treasury, along with the Federal Reserve. And String Bean, you know those two banks, don't you?
Yes.
Which ones?
Citibank and JP Morgan.
Boom. Citibank and JP Morgan have been intricately involved with the United States and Iraq in the majority of all of their meetings for the last several years. And you're going to see here tonight what they have developed and what has transpired. This first article that is in the room, Goldilocks shared. It's the Trade Bank of Iraq is also keen on providing training sessions in the banking industry to the government ministries and departments on two directions. The first is the bank organized regular banking training courses where lectures have been given by highly experienced bankers. So this is Iraq talking about training. The second was the bank, meaning the Trade Bank of Iraq, organized in collaboration with JP Morgan Chase and Citibank Initiative training programs for Iraqi ministries. Folks, the ministries are like the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Labor, so forth and so on. After the successes in intensifying training programs achieved in this field. So basically what this is talking about is the training in Iraqi banks. String Bean, This is what Chase and Citibank training Iraqi banks. What's the date of this particular article that Goldilocks shared?
November the 24th, 2021.
November the 24th, 2021. Key date for you all to pay attention to. All right. Next, Goldilocks shared, this is from the CBI. The governor of the CBI, he chaired a meeting establishing what's called a national company in Iraq to manage electronic payment systems within Iraq with the participation of a number of bank officials. Iraq is preparing themselves, this is from the CBI, Iraq is preparing themselves for the full integration of their new digital banking system. And this is what on October the 14th, the CBI shared with us directly, Goldilocks and D and myself, about the digitizing. Iraq announced earlier this year that they have formally digitized their banking system. I'm going to continue. They are currently working out the details of implementation that would become the national protocol for their new banking system. So basically, this is sharing, what this is stating from the CBI is that they have a new protocol within the Iraqi banking system for digitizing their banks. What is the date of this article that Goldilocks shared from the CBI, String Bean?
August the 14th.
Of this year, right?
Of this year.
Got it. And folks, think Citibank, think digitizing, think Iraq digit. Remember the quantum financial system, the QFS. It's a digital, it's the new digital economy, the digital banking system, not a bank account. It's a blockchain. So when you have the digitizing of the banking system in Iraq, also Iraq digitizing their ports and customs from which the Iraqi dinar moves and will move globally through their ports. This is why Goldilocks has coined the phrase, watch the water. The ice cutter system, their ports, where goods and services come in and out, billions and billions of dollars every day, in and out of Iraq, digitizing their ports. They digitize their banks. Why? Because they are preparing to go international. The international standards require Iraq to digitize their banks, digitize their ports. Now, this is next. This next article is from the CBI. This is after they met with the United States in August, and they had this press release stating Iraq just visited the United States from August the 26th to the 29th. It was a high-level negotiating team that met with J.P. Morgan, the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, Visa, MasterCard, MoneyGram, and Citibank, as well as international auditing firms such as KPMG, Ernst & Young, and Oliver Wyman. What's the date of this article by the CBI that Goldilocks shared, String Bean?
August the 31st, 2024.
So we started back in 2021 with Citibank meeting with Iraq. Then we come to 2024 and they're working with Iraq, meeting with Iraq and the United States in talking about digitizing the banking system. Now, we're going to get to the article by Goldilocks related to Citibank just yesterday. If you can be so kind, String Bean, let's get on into it and share with these people what Citibank is doing themselves, which we know Iraq is connected to.
Okay. City Digital Bill, which is CDB, a new integrated digital bill discounting solution that makes centuries-old practices future-ready.
Pause. So future-ready. What this is, folks, is the digitizing of what Citibank is doing is digitizing their transactions throughout the globe, where many countries, just like Iraq, has been dealing with paper for transactions, even at their ports. Some of you are new. Our seasoned members have witnessed the articles by Goldilocks sharing the digitizing of Iraq at their ports and their banking systems. Folks, Iraq historically has handled billions and billions of dollars every day at their ports manually, even at their banks, transactions manually. That's changing. You can continue.
The following components are a part of the new City Direct system.
City Direct, folks, is Citibank. This is their new system. Go ahead.
City Direct supports foreign currency exchange and is designed to help users manage foreign exchange across the globe.
City Direct supports foreign currency exchange. This is Citibank's new digital global systems. You can continue.
Foreign exchange management. City Direct allows users to manage cash and foreign exchange activities, including access to letter of credit status and direct documentary collection. Multiple currencies. City Direct supports over 135 currencies and is available in 27 languages and across more than 90 countries.
135 currencies. Folks, just imagine the currencies that you hold that you are waiting to revalue. Just imagine, I guarantee you, majority of them are within this 135 currencies. Okay, you can continue.
City Connect. City Connect is a channel service that provides a direct connection to Citi from a client's treasury management system, or ERP.
Okay, so City Connect is a channel service that provides a direct connection to Citibank from a client's treasury management system. Folks, the clients for the client's treasury management system, that's the treasury department for each country. The countries are the clients. Also, it can be a part of corporations, but this is the treasury management system. So it's connected to the treasury departments, just like the United States Treasury Department and other treasury departments connected to each country. Okay, you can continue.
It supports the exchange of files and messages for all city treasury and trade services. WorldLink Payment Services. WorldLink Payment Services allows clients to issue payments in over 135 currencies from their offices without maintaining local currency accounts. Yes, Citibank is going digital with City Direct, a platform that offers a variety of digital banking services. Citi is also developing a new digital asset capabilities for institutional clients. Welcome to City Direct Online Banking, Citibank's web-based banking platform.
Question, this reminds me, Lady Unique, if you could unmute real quick, I have a question for you about this. Lady Unique, if you can unmute, does this remind you of that tier one bank that you went to that authenticated your currency, and also you're able to see certain currencies in your back office? Does this remind you of something along those lines?
Yes, it does. One thing that when I read that, and then hearing you guys read it, that's what, hearing it is awesome. When you started talking about it, but when you say that, I was thinking a couple things. One, they don't want me, because I mentioned that one of those banks, and
they don't want you to go there.
They don't want me to go there. And then when this came out, I'm like, Oh,
That makes sense.
making sense to me now. I mean,
Because they're in competition for you.
yeah. And
Oh,
so that was kind of like a real eye opener for me. That's why I had to go back and listen again because I was multitasking at first. I said, let
Mm-hmm.
me go back and hear that again. But that
Mm-hmm.
that stuck
Now it makes
out.
sense to you. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All of that. All of
Uh-huh.
that. Because I'll just say this. Um, you know, when I shared one of my visits to the bank, we were having some they wanted to switch me to digital.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
You went to the bank because you were having issues, and in fact, the bank their systems were down that day or something like that, right? Because they were
Yeah.
upgrading to something digital.
Right. And they were trying to switch me because I was having trouble with my debit card.
Right.
And the person that was working with me was like kind of hinting, are you familiar with digital banking?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that too was another one because the day that happened, it was prior to Goldilocks' other update about the background of what was going on with the QFS system being
Mm-hmm.
where and then
Mm-hmm.
connecting with the bank. So and then to hear this and then what I went through, I'm like, oh. So
It
yeah,
all made. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. That's why I said you stuck with me.
Thank you, beloved. Yeah, that's perfect timing. Thank you. Yes.
Uh-huh.
All right, appreciate you. All right, String Bean. Let's get to the next one. We going to Iraq on this one. And you ready?
yes. Is that the last one you dropped in the room?
Yep, it's the last one
Okay.
I dropped in the room. Folks, this here is where Iraq is reactivating certain securities accounts. And I'm going to explain it as we go through it. But let's go. Let's just jump right into it and I'll explain it.
Okay.
String Bean.
Monetary policy rate and reactivation of securities based on the monetary policy orientations to enhance access to targeted inflation rates.
Okay, let's pause. So, folks, this is from the CBI. This is directly from the Central Bank of Iraq. Monetary policy. She's going to explain and read what it's referring to. Just think. I'm going to kind of give you an idea. Just think. Now, Ken, I think I used debt accounts. There are securities which are, and I don't want to get too technical, and I want to try to break this down in layman's terms as much as possible. But just think of every currency that you hold. There are additional financial instruments that back and support that currency for every single country that is actually connected to the country's GDP, gross domestic product. There are certain things that certain instruments, securities that back every currency to give the currency strength and support in the global markets and also within its own country. So we're going to touch on that. Okay, you can go ahead. String B.
Okay. A monetary policy rate refers to the interest rate set by a central bank to influence borrowing costs across the economy.
Central bank, for example, folks, like the Central Bank of Iraq, central banks such as the Federal Reserve Bank of the U.S., which is our central bank, the State Bank of Vietnam, that's their central bank. So when she says a monetary policy rate refers to the interest rate set by the CBI, so forth and so on, to influence borrowing costs across the economy, then you can continue.
Essentially acting as a benchmark for other interest rates, while reactivation of securities means a central bank buying back government bonds from the market to inject liquidity and stimulate economic activity, often used as a tool within monetary policy to lower interest rates and encourage borrowing.
So this is pumping money back into the economy. So, for example, let's say Iraq. This is pumping money into Iraq's economy, to encourage borrowing, because what that does, it boosts the value of the country's currency. It will boost the value of the dinar. This is basically in order to awaken the economy that was once dead. You must first awaken the securities, the instruments that back the dinar in order to help the dinar to become strong again. Okay, go ahead. Reactivation of securities. Go ahead.
Reactivation of securities refers to the process of reactivating a dormant trading account or a security clearance. Examples of securities include
So these are the
stock.
examples, folks, these are the
Oh, go ahead.
examples of what backs the dinar or backs the country's currency, but this is specific to the dinar. So these are examples that Goldilocks is sharing actually from the CBI as well of what backs the dinar, examples of securities. Go ahead.
Examples of securities include stocks, bonds, notes or loans, debentures, which is a debt instrument used to raise capital, limited partnership interests, and oil and gas interests.
That last one, oil and gas interest, you guys are going to see, you're going to hear how that absolutely 100% connects to the dinar and what Iraq has been doing, actually what Iraq has planned for the end of this year. Let's continue.
These monetary policy changes will enable the Iraqi dinar to strengthen its own currency, and the underlying security assets above will support the Iraqi dinar exchange rate.
For example, one of the security assets above is oil and gas. Okay, go ahead.
This exchange rate is expected to be revealed upon WTO acceptance.
World Trade Organization. Okay.
The reactivation of these accounts utilizing the Iraqi dinar instead of the dollar will increase demand and price pressures on the Iraqi dinar.
So the reactivation of these accounts, what accounts? For example, stocks, bonds, notes, debentures, limited partnership, and oil and gas interest. The oil and gas interest. This oil and gas is the biggest of them all. Why? Because oil and gas, it's oil. 80%, folks, of the revenue that comes into Iraq is from their oil. Okay, you can continue.
By end of year, Iraq will be removed from the electronic platform, which is the oil account.
See, that's important. By the end of this year, I'm sure String Bean, you and other members have seen directly from Iraq, or they have mentioned by the end of this year, this is the shift for those seasoned members who've been following. By the end of this year, Iraq will be removed from the electronic platform, which is the oil account. That's the account. That's one of the securities, the main security that backs the dinar, that gives the dinar support. And once this is on October the 14th, I remember it very well, speaking directly to the CBI. Once they removed from the electronic platform, and this is from the CBI in writing, and the link is right here. It will be in the description. Once Iraq removes themselves from the oil account, which is the electronic platform connected to the U.S. Federal Reserve, that will allow them, meaning that will allow Iraq to then connect to international banks. That is not my words. That is not Goldilocks' words. That is directly from the CBI. The link will be in the description. It's right here. It will allow Iraq to connect to international correspondent banks once they are removed from the electronic platform, which is the oil account connected to the Federal Reserve. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Controlled by the Federal Reserve, for which Iraq receives their oil revenues approved by the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
A dormant trading account is an account that has not had any trades made for a period of time.
So that means no transactions. That means it's been dormant. It's been dead. It's been cold, rigor mortis. Now again, yes, we shaking it and baking it. And yeah, Lazarus come forth, Dinar, to wake up and have life. That's what this is. Go ahead.
The agency that originally granted the clearance can reinstate it, or a different agency can accept and reciprocally grant it, such as we are seeing in new digital networks coming into play on the QFS.
Boom. So the dormant trading account. This is the account. Let's say the oil account. Let's say the bonds and stocks within Iraq, which they haven't had the economy to be able to support strength for the dinar. But these securities will allow for the dinar to become strong again as Iraq disconnects from the electronic platform connected to the Federal Reserve, and then connect to international banks, which, of course, are the digital networks, like String Bean just read. We are seeing in the new digital networks. What did we just talk about from Citibank? Digitizing their new digital system. What did Iraq state that they have done? They have digitized their banking systems. When you hear digitizing, folks, the digital networks, when you hear Iraq talking about they've digitized their banking system, digitized their ports, when you hear and you see that Citibank, one of the two main banks that have been in every single meeting with the U.S. and Iraq, digitizing their creating the new digital platform for 135 currencies to connect to. I hope you're picking up what we're putting down. Stream Bean, question. Yeah. After going through this, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. What comes to mind now that you see this put together?
It makes me excited to see that the digital banking is needed in order for all of this to happen.
Folks, there is no RV without digital banking. We are moving into a new digital economy. We are moving away from the old inundated paper. In fact, during COVID is when all of this pretty much began. Going to cashless. Iraq actually, think about it, announced that they're moving to a cashless society. Even Vietnam announced in July or August that they are moving to a cashless society. The world is moving to a new digital platform, which is the quantum financial system. Now, we're going to get into some Q&A. So, folks, if you have questions, thank you, Garlic String Bean. You have anything you want to add to this? Thank you so much for helping.
No, I'm just so honored and so thankful to have found you guys, and just want to encourage others to step out, because this is such a safe group to be in and a place to learn. Even if you make a mistake, there's always someone here to help us. So just thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you. We appreciate you. All right, beautiful folks, let's get into some Q&A. Ask whatever questions you have about the topics here tonight. Just open it up. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. We will come to you. We have about 30 minutes. And if there's not that many questions, we will shut down and have a good night. But if you have questions, let's get it open. Let's get it going. Ron Appland, you can unmute. How you doing?
Nice.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Thank you.
All right.
I've been following this currency stuff for quite a while. I think I've heard through other people kind of what to ask when you're going to the bank without saying the words RV, just you know what I mean. Can you give kind of like just a quick rundown of what you guys were talking about? Would that be possible?
Not right now or during the Q&A. The Q&A will be relevant to the articles that were shared tonight. Were you just joined the call, or you've been on the call the whole time?
I've been on the call the whole time. This is the first time
Okay,
I've listened to your podcast, so
no
I'm
problem.
brand new to you
Well,
guys.
welcome home, young man.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, where are you from? What state?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. Yeah, the Q&A tonight is on the articles that we just went over. But if you would like to learn more about establishing relationships with banks so that you can find out who can exchange your currency when the time comes and help you to grow your wealth, you're more than welcome to come into the Q&A to the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, where we can help you.
Okay.
And have you listened to any of the podcasts where the members have already established relationships and they're sharing what they've done?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. It's just been dropped right into the room. Can you see in the room the syllabus that was just dropped there? Right into the room? Right at the bottom. And it's the second link. You'll see the second link where it says Real Bank Stories with Wealth Managers. You might have muted yourself, Ron.
Yes. Sorry, I
Okay.
see it. Yeah.
That's okay. Yep, click that, and where members have shared their stories, their experience, just like the ones you heard tonight, and come on into the room, and we'll help you out, get you squared away.
Perfect. I appreciate
All right,
it.
buddy, you got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, folks, you have a question? Go ahead, feel free to raise your hand. On questions on the information that we went over tonight. Did we do that good? Was it that good, String Being Lady Unique? Thanks to y'all.
I would say I don't have a question, but I will say for the on behalf of those that listen, that was a lot for folks to swallow, to hear. So maybe once they go back and read it, or listen to it on the podcast, and then come back into the room, then they may be more comfortable with asking a question.
That's
And
a
and I would
good
just
idea.
yeah, and I just want to say too, there's never a dumb question.
That's right.
You
That's right.
don't know until you ask.
That's right. Excellent. Jan, you can unmute. Let's get to your question.
Hi. Yeah, that confused me a little bit. And I'm glad there
sorry
aren't
about
any
that.
stupid. I'm glad there aren't any stupid questions. So I know that Chase Bank is also digital, and maybe Goldilocks went over this years ago. When I was in Guru Land, still, do they have the same like foreign exchange management, multiple currencies? Are they the same type of digital as Citibank just announced?
No, great question. No, it's they're a little more robust than Citibank. This is new for Citibank, but Chase has something similar, but it's bigger than Citibank.
Perfect. That was all I wanted to know, and I'm sure Goldilocks went over that, but it could have been a while ago because they have been digital for a while, as far as I believe.
Correct. Because actually, Chase has been in Iraq since 2012, and they were responsible for helping Iraq to meet their international standards so that they can eventually RV. Chase actually helped Iraq to do so. As a matter of fact, as a FYI, Chase has a branch in Iraq, and so does Citibank.
Very interesting. Yeah, in 2012, I was sound asleep. Who knows what I was doing? Anyway, thank you so much.
You're welcome, beloved.
All right, bye.
All right. Who else has a question related to the articles? Feel free. Or if you have a question for the ladies who have established their relationships with the banks, we can do that as well, because this would be your opportunity to speak to them directly and answer whatever questions you may have.
Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Wiley had a question. Is it okay to unmute him now?
Oh, of course.
Okay, hold on.
I didn't know Wiley was here.
Wiley, can you raise your hand?
Oh, there he is. Wiley. You can unmute, Wiley.
Hey, how you doing?
There you go.
Freedom?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, I didn't have I had a question, but she called me out. How do you like that from Lady E? I said no.
Oh man.
Hey, I know you and I have spoke about this, but it kind of goes to what you're talking about, some of the digital aspects and what some of our folks tonight talked about with the digital aspects of their banking. But could you, and I don't know if you got into this when you were on the CBI call, but can you talk a little bit about how the people of Iraq are learning their digital banking and how the various generations are learning and dealing with that digital adoption and their new forms of banking, which are residing in country that they're having to get over that challenge?
Yes, great question. I'm glad you asked that. Actually, the CBI did touch on this on the call on the 14th of October, that they actually have a targeted campaign. Iraq has a targeted campaign to their citizens with a heavy. The CBI mentioned a heavy targeted campaign towards the youth, the age 20 and younger. Because they're a little more accepted. They accept more of the digital banking. And Iraq, as of 2023, had 9 million people, 9 million of their citizens out of 40 million that have adopted to digital banking. And as of now, it's over 20 million. So it's almost half of their population. And what Iraq is even doing is, and this was mentioned on the call as well, is they are digitizing the gas stations to where they're not going to accept cash at the gas stations within Iraq. It all has to be digital transactions via a smartphone. And this is very important, people, for Iraq in digitizing their banking system, because this is how they are able to get the Iraqi dinars, the paper Iraqi dinars, off of the street and into the banking system. This is another reason why I joked with the CBI on that call about the Iraqi citizens liking to keep their dinars under their mattresses, because the sooner that Iraq has the population to accept digital banking, the sooner that they meet this international standards to go international. Because this is how, again, they'll be able to get the dinars off of the street, from under the mattresses, into the banking system. Because once they get mass adoption of dinars into the banking system, they can back the dinars, of course, with gold, with other assets, and get them into the QFS, to the digital banking system. Does that kind of answer your question, Wiley?
No, absolutely it does. And I thought that was important to talk about, because we hear so much about, oh, they got to print new currency and they got to do this and they got to do that, when it's so far from the truth of what's really transpiring.
Yes, right. Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah, because it's all about them digitizing their banking system, digitizing reports, everything going digital, is so that they can prepare to go international, because the international banking system is digital. That's how the dinar will move through the new banking system is through digital means via, ISO compliant, via XRP, so forth and so on. Yep.
I appreciate you touching on that, Freedom Fighter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your question. All right. Who else? You may have a question. Feel free to raise your hand. Next, who has a question? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. No more questions. If not, we will bid you all Delta Dawn. Okay. That usually happens when I get ready to say goodnight. Delta Dawn, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hey, this is Eve. I changed mine Delta Dawn now.
This is who?
Eve.
Eve, the formerly ED?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now I know
I
who
need
you
to
are.
send you a little message on that. I wanted to make sure nobody else had any questions because I'm basically good. But did I hear you ask? I think it was Lady Unique or the other lady speaking about their experiences. Something about depositing or had they deposited their currency in an account?
Mm-hmm. Would you like to ask Lady Unique that directly?
Sure.
Okay, she's here.
All right. Did you have you been able you I know you said in the past, I think that was you, but I would like to do that if there was any way possible to deposit my currency. Were you able to do that, Lady
Not,
Unique?
yeah. Good evening, Delta Dawn.
Hey,
I I was not able to because the currency that I have right now they're not accepting.
I
Okay.
got you. I
All right.
gotcha.
The accounts I have were years ago. And
Okay.
so that's kind of old. However, that's just the bank that I'm dealing with. So if you
Okay.
have a relationship at the bank, you can start having those type of conversations and just asking them, say, I got some foreign currencies. Can I set up an account with it? Go in there like you're curious.
Right.
Okay. And see what response you get.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
that's
good
my
idea.
Yeah, try it that way. And it's I call that testing the waters.
Yeah, that's really good idea. I do have an account open with the bank, and it's so funny because that's how I based it was on an inheritance, and they knew about the QFS system at the time, but they didn't anything else. But it's been probably a month or so since I've been in and sit
Mhm.
down and talk with them. So I need to do that again. But
Yeah,
thanks
go back and
everyone.
you're welcome, and that's a good thing. Go back, establish that relationship, and you don't know until you ask. So go
That's
for it,
right.
girl.
You're so
Go for
gracious.
it.
You really were very gracious in your explaining things tonight, and I thank you both very much. And of
You're
course,
quite
Freedom,
Mm-hmm. You're welcome,
glad I
beloved.
could help.
ma'am, thank you so much.
You're welcome, darling.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right. Who else? If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. If it's on the articles or if you would like to know about establishing a relationship, you got the ladies here who can help you. All right, all right, all right. If there's no more questions, we will bid you all a good night. All right, so that's it. No more questions. We're good to go. All right, beautiful people. All right, everyone have a good night. We love you. We appreciate you. Soak this all in. The call will be out in a couple of days for you to listen to it again. And we love you. We appreciate you. Everyone have a good night. Ciao. Thank you, String Bean and Lady Unique. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.